So, thank you for this today's event. And at the outset, let me make it very clear that we stand absolutely firmly with our fighting farmers. So, the basic demands of the farmers, that is outright repeal of these three disastrous anti-farmer laws. I think we stand with this demand. There can be no pause button. We don't support any kind of diversionary tactics or dilatory tactics on the part of the government. So I think it's absolutely very clear what the farmers are demanding, the repeal of the three laws, and also a repeal of the electricity bill 2020. And I think I have been just reading Nitin Gadkari's interview in the Indian Express, and that made it very clear why the government has come out with these bills. He has said that the two basic problems are that we have surplus food grain production in the country, and MSP is way higher than the prevailing market price. So basically, they want to subject farmers to market price, and in the name of sort of tackling this whole problem of surplus food grain production, they want to shift agriculture from food grains to biofuel or other commercial crops for corporate profits. So these are the two fundamental objectives of the central government. Now, let us be very clear that on the one hand, we have India slipping in the hunger index. On the one hand, we have hunger deaths in the country. So if we still have surplus food grains production, if our godowns are overflowing, it's because of the crisis of our public distribution system. So the moment we have a universal effective public distribution system, which can actually cater to the needs of the people, I don't think we will really have a problem of surplus food grain production. And this idea to shift from food grains to biofuel and other commercial crops, I think this is a disastrous idea. On the one hand, the government is talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat, but the basic parameter of self-sufficiency is, I think, food security. And once again, they will make India dependent on that American wheats and Australian wheats. I think this is what Punjab and the entire country's farmers, they are opposed to. Number two, they have made it very clear that MSP, the actual market price which prevails, in most places, the farmers do not get the advantage of MSP. It's only in Punjab and maybe part of Haryana where this whole agricultural marketing system works at the moment. And this is why the farmers are protesting there most vocally. In many other parts of the country, the farmers do not really get the advantage of MSP. And they are actually forced, it's a kind of distress cell that farmers are subjected to. So they don't get MSP. So I think that's why it's very clear to understand that why farmers are insisting on MSP. And when they talk about MSP, I think we demand not just a legal guarantee of the MSP. It's not enough for the government to only declare a price. It's also must be mandatory for the government to ensure of adequate procurement, timely procurement and timely payment. These are things which farmers have been experiencing problems and they have not been getting it. We were also part of the farmers movement before 2019 elections, the 2018 big farmers agitation that you mentioned. And those two demands of loan waiver, freedom from debt, and MSP as recommended by the Swaminathan Commission. There are also other demands which came up in the course of the agitation, demands which are basically demands of marginal farmers, sharecroppers. And I think another important demand which farmers are also raising, that is cheaper inputs. So we cannot just have very expensive agriculture and just match that by demanding higher prices of our crops. But I think cheapening agriculture, making the inputs more easily available and affordable. So affordability of inputs, that's also another key demand, and which I think if ensured by governments, then that will go a long way to help the smaller marginal farmers who cannot afford these growing prices of input. Now, I think we are in a stage where the whole country, I think, has got the message. It's not just Punjab farmers. And in fact, I find it very interesting because we communists have all along been accused of looking at farmers not as a community, but talking about class differentiation within farmers. So, rich farmers and marginal farmers and small farmers and landless farmers and so on and so forth. And now the government is telling us that this is a rich farmers movement. So this is a movement of the Kulak lobby, and poor farmers, they have nothing to do with it. But I think farmers cutting across their size class, I think they have got the message. So this is a movement of the entire agricultural population. I think India's rural and urban poor, they have also got the message that this sounds a death knell for whatever public distribution system we have, whatever notional food security we still have in the country. So for defense of food security, and for the rationing system, I think the urban and rural poor, they are fully supporting this movement. And the most important question is, now this is a threat to our democracy. The way the bills were passed, and now when the farmers are demanding, the government has cancelled the winter session of parliament, and our Niti Aayog chairman, he complains that we have too much of democracy. So when we actually democracy is being denied, being completely subverted in practice. So this is why it has also become a question of democracy. It's a question of federalism. So that's why I think across the board, all sections of Indian people who would like to defend India's democracy, who stand with the constitution of the country, who want a federal India, who want welfare economics, where the demands of our rural and urban poor, the working people will be met. I think they all are standing with the farmers today. Now we see the Supreme Court trying to intervene. Let us, I think I looked at the farmers' statement yesterday issued by the farmers' organizations, and I stand with them. The court's observations vis-a-vis the government's attitude, I think these observations are quite welcome. But I think the court should also understand why for the last 2 months the farmers are here. So the farmers have made it very clear, and this is between the farmers and the government. The government has come out with ordinances first and then passed these laws by dubious means. Farmers are opposed to the laws, so let the laws be repealed. We support the idea of a special session of parliament, but I think even the repeal of the laws, the special session, let the laws be repealed first, and then, of course, the entire agrarian crisis, the various dimensions of it. Some dimensions have got some attention, but there are many other dimensions, as you talked about the climate change, various other aspects of it, which have not got adequate attention yet. So let there be a comprehensive parliament session to discuss every aspect of the agrarian crisis and to come out with some kind of a convincing, credible resolution of the agrarian crisis in support of India's agricultural population, in support of India's agriculture. And what the government is right now doing, let us not forget that in the first quarter of this 2020, when we had seen our GDP nosedive by close to 25%, it was only agriculture which recorded some 3% positive growth. And now that sector is being completely handed over to the Adanis and Ambanis, what the farmers popularly call the Company Raj. So we are with the farmers against Company Raj, and we are with the Indian people for democracy against this whole fascist onslaught on our democratic system. Thank you.